Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Let us chant one round of japa with Srila Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for all session. Let us recite Bhagavad Gita Shloka. We are reciting from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 13, texts 8 to 12. Yes. And if you need to go first, please raise your hand. Otherwise, we'll just go in order. Okay, nobody needs to go first. Isha? Not here. Okay, Krishna Shish.
अमानत्वम् अदम्भित्वम् अहिंसा क्रांति अर्जवम् आचार्योपासनं शौचं स्थैर्यमात्मविनिग्रहः इन्द्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम् अनहङ्कार एव च जन्ममृत्युजराव्याधि दुःखदोषानुदर्शनम् असक्तिरनभिष्वङ्गः पुत्रदारा
Sorry.
पुत्रदारविहादिषु नित्यं च समाधितत्वम् इष्टानिष्टोपपत्तिषु मयि चानन्ययोगेन भक्तिरव्यभिचारिणी विविक्तदेशसेवित्वम् रतिर्जनसंसदि अध्यात्मज्ञाननित्यत्वं तत्त्वज्ञानदर्शनम् ज्ञानम् इति प्रोक्तम् अज्ञानं यदतोऽन्यथा humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil of birth, death, old age, and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, even-mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization, and philosophical search for the absolute truth. All these I declare to be knowledge, and besides this, whatever there may be is ignorance.
Madhava.
Monotrom Dambitvam Saksante Arzavam Atharya Pasanam Sansam Stayam Atmavanagraha Indriyate Suvairagyam Ahankara Evasa Dhammamitya Vyadhi Dukkhadosa
Doshanudarshanam.
Dukkhadosa Sanam Asakta Abhiswanga Pradadisu Nityam Sasanat Tatvam Stanistopapa Disu Adhyatma Jnana
Mayi chananya yogena.
Maitananya Yogena Bhakta Avyavicharini Victor Desasya Itvam Jnana Samsadi Adhyatma Jnana Tatvam Tatvajnanadharasam Etadjnanamiti Proktam Ajnanam Yadato Yatha Humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil of birth, death, old age, and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, even-mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events, confident and unallied devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization, and philosophical search for the absolute truth. All these I declare to be knowledge, and besides this, whatever there may be is ignorance.
Rasapriya.
Ananitvam Adam Hitvam Santaranzavam Acharya Pashanam Socham Sryamatma Indriyarthe Vairagyam Anahankara Evacha Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkhadosan Darsanam असक्तिरनुभस्वङ्गः पुत्रदाराभिवादिषु नित्यं च समचित्तत्वम् ईशानस्वपतिषु मयि भक्तिरव्यभिचारिणी विविक्तदेशसेवितुम् अरतिर्जनसंसदि अध्यात्मज्ञाननित्यत्वं तत्त्वज्ञानार्थदर्शनम् एतज्ज्ञानमिति प्रोक्तम् अज्ञानं यदतोऽन्यथा humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil world of death, old age, and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, even-mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization, and the philosophical search for the absolute truth. All these I declare to be knowledge, and besides this, whatever there may be is ignorance.
Yeah. Priyanka Haripriya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Amanitvam adambitvam ahimsa kshantirajam acharyopasanam shocham stairyam atmavinigraha Indyartheshu vairagyam anahankara eva cha janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshana darshanam asaktiran bhishwangaha putradaragrahadishu nityam cha samachittatvam ishtanishtopapatishu मयि चानन्य योगेन भक्तिरभ्यचारिणी विविक्तदेशसेवित्वम् संसदि अध्यात्मज्ञाननित्यत्वं तत्त्वज्ञानार्थदर्शनम् एतज्ज्ञानमिति प्रोक्तम् अज्ञानं यद् अतोऽन्यथा. Humility, pridelessness, nonviolence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil of birth, death, old age, and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, even-mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization and philosophical search for the truth, absolute truth. All these I declare to be knowledge, and besides this, whatever there may be is ignorance.
Okay. Saujanya Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the single devotees.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Amanitvam adambhitvam ahimsa kshantir arjavam acharya pashanam saucham acharyopasanam saucham stairyam atmavinigraha indriyarteshu vairagyam anahankara eva cha janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanu darshanam asaktir anabhishwanga putradhara gruhadishu nityam cha samachittatvam ishtanishtopapatishu.
Mai
Chananya yogena bhaktir abhyabhicharini vivikta desha sevitvam aratir jana samsadhi adhyatma jnana nityatvam tattva jnanartha darshanam etaj jnanam iti proktam ajnanam yatyato nyata. This
humility,
pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil of birth, death, old age, and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, even mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events. Uh, Constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, uh, accepting the importance of self realization, and philosophical search for the absolute truth. All these I declare to be knowledge. And besides this, whatever there may be is ignorance. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mother. Isha.
Amanatvam adamhitvam ahimsa kshantararjavam acharyopasanakshacham स्थैर्यम् आत्मविनिग्रहः इन्द्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम् अनहङ्कार एव च जन्ममृत्युजराव्याधि दुःखदोषानुदर्शनम् असक्तिरनभिष्वङ्गः उत्तरदारागृहादिषु नित्यं च सगचित्तत्वम् ईशानशोकभक्तिषु मयि चानन्य योगेन भक्तव्यभिचारिणि विविक्तदेशसेवित्वम् अरतिर्जनसंसदि अध्यात्मज्ञाननित्यत्वं तत्त्वज्ञानार्थदर्शनम् एतज्ज्ञानम् इति प्रोक्तम् अज्ञानं यद् अतोऽन्यथा humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil of birth, death, old age, and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, even-mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization, and philosophical search for the absolute truth. All these are declared to be knowledge. And besides this, whatever there may be is ignorance.
Yes. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, texts 8 to 12. Amanitvam adambhitvam ahimsa kshantirarjavam acharyopasanam shaucham स्थैर्यम् आत्मविनिग्रहः इन्द्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम् अनहङ्कार एव च जन्ममृत्युजराव्याधि दुःखदोषानुदर्शनम् असक्तिरनभिष्वङ्गः पुत्रदारागृहादिषु नित्यं च समचित्तत्वम् इष्टानिष्टोपपत्तिषु मयि चानन्ययोगेन भक्तिरव्यभिचारिणी विविक्तदेशसेवित्वम् अरतिर्जनसंसदि अध्यात्मज्ञाननित्यत्वम् तत्त्वज्ञानार्थदर्शनम् एतज्ज्ञानम् इति प्रोक्तम् अज्ञानं यद् अतोऽन्यथा. Humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil of birth, death, old age, and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, even-mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization and philosophical search for the absolute truth. All these I declare to be knowledge, and besides this, whatever there may be is ignorance. So as you recite as you say the translation, if you're able to remember the words, or as you're reciting the verse, if you're able to remember the meanings. Amanitvam, humility. Adambhitvam, pridelessness. Ahimsa, non-violence. Kshantir, tolerance. Arjavam, simplicity. Acharyopasanam, approaching a bona fide spiritual master. Shaucham, cleanliness. Sthairyam means what? Steadiness. Atma vinigraha, self-control. Like that. Then the translation becomes easy and the memorization also becomes easy. Indriyartheshu vairagyam means renunciation of the objects of sense gratification. Anahankara, without false ego. Evacha, janma mrityu jara vyadhi, being conscious of the evils of birth, death, old age and disease. Dukkha doshanu darshanam, the whole thing. Janma mrityu jara vyadhi, dukkha doshanu darshanam. Then asaktir, what is asaktir? So detachment. Asakti is attachment. Asakti is detachment. Okay. Asakti. Asaktir anabhishwangaha. What is anabhishwangaha? Freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest. Anabhishwangaha, no, putradara grihadishu. Okay, anabhishwangaha putradara grihadishu. Together. Okay, freedom from attachment. Putra means son, dara means wife, griha means home. Anabhishwangaha putradara grihadishu. Asakti means detachment. Anabhishwangaha putradara grihadishu means freedom from wife, children, and home. Freedom from entanglement. Anabhishwangaha putradara grihadishu. Nityam cha samachittatvam means even-mindedness. Nityam, always. Nityam samachittatvam means even-mindedness. Nityam means both in pleasant and unpleasant events, right? Nityam cha samachittatvam, even-mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events. Ishta nishtopapattishu. Well, ishta and anishta is pleasant and unpleasant. So nityam cha samachittatvam means even-mindedness always. Nityam cha samachittatvam. Ishta nishtopapattishu means, so this even-mindedness both in pleasant and unpleasant situations. Ishta and anishta. Ishta nishtopapattishu. Even-mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events. Then Mai Chananya Yogena. Mai means unto Krishna. Cha Ananya Yogena. Ananya Yogena Bhaktir Avyabhicharini. So what type of bhakti towards the Lord? Constant. Ananya is unalloyed devotion. Mai Chananya Yogena Bhaktir Avyabhicharini. So Avyabhicharini is unalloyed devotion, right? Vyabhichari means a prostitute. A prostitute's quality, she goes to so many different people. Whereas Ananya means there's only one, right? Like a faithful person, only one. So Ananya. Mai Chananya Yogena Bhaktir Avyabhicharini. So there's Ananya also and Avyabhicharini also. So together it's said as unalloyed devotion. Mai Chananya Yogena Bhaktir Avyabhicharini. So Avyabhicharini can be taken as constant and Ananya as unalloyed. Okay. So Avyabhicharini means there's no changing, right? Only Avyabhicharini, constant. Mai chananya yogena bhaktir avyabhicharini. Then, Vivikta desha sevitvam. Desha means place, right? So Vivikta desha sevitvam means desiring to live in a solitary place. It is translated. Vivikta desha sevitvam. Vivikta means solitary. Desha means place. Vivikta desha sevitvam means you are aspiring to live in a solitary place. Vivikta desha sevitvam. Okay, aspiring to live in a solitary place. Arati. Rati means attachment. Arati means no attachment. To what? Jana samsadi. To being in a place with all people. Aratir jana samsadi means to people in general, having no attachment to people in general, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, right? Arati means no attachment or detachment. Rati is attachment. Arati means detachment. Aratir jana samsadi means detachment from the general mass of people. Aratir jana samsadi. Then adhyatma, jnana, nityatvam. Adhyatma is spiritual, jnana, nityatvam. Adhyatma pertaining to the self. Jnana is knowledge. Adhyatma, jnana, nityatvam means constantly. Adhyatma, jnana, nityatvam. So, accepting the importance of self-realization. Adhyatma, jnana, nityatvam. Right? So, knowledge of the self, nityatvam, constantly. Accepting the importance of self-realization. Adhyatma, jnana, nityatvam. Then Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam, Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam. Tattva Jnan. What is Tattva Jnan? Tattva, absolute truth, right? Vadanti tat Tattva Vidas. Tattvam Yajnanam Advayam. Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavaniti Shabdite. So that Tattva is understood by the learned persons. Tattva, Vadanti tat Tattva Vidas. One who knows Tattva. They understand this Tattva as Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. So Tattva means what? Absolute truth. Okay. So Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam. Searching for Tattva Jnan. Knowledge of the absolute truth. Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam means searching for knowledge of the absolute truth. So Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam. That means constantly or understanding the importance of self-realization, Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam, and Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam, looking for the absolute truth. So there is two things here, self-realization and looking for the absolute truth. It's not the same, right? So even for Jnanis, they have like Tam Padartha Jnana, Tat Padartha Jnana, and then Aikya Jnana. So that's their process. Tvam Padartha Jnana means to understand that you are not this body. That's first step. Tat Padartha Jnana means to understand Tat means that, right? Tvam means you and me. Tat means that which is Brahman. In Jnani's terms, because 13 to 18 is Jnana, it's Jnan, right? So, Tvam Padartha Jnana and Tat Padartha Jnana means knowledge of the absolute, which to them is absolute, they see absolute truth as Brahman. Tattva. And Aikya Jnana, Tattvam Asi, they say, right? Tattvam Aikya Jnana. That means this you and that are one. So that is their progress. First understand who you are, then understand that, and then next is to understand that you are that. That's how they make progress. So Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam. So one is Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam, then Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam. Etaj Jnanam iti proktam Ajnanam yad atonyatha. Etaj Jnanam iti proktam. All these I declare to be knowledge. Etaj Jnanam. So means all this is knowledge. Iti proktam, I say. Etaj jnanam iti proktam. And whatever else there is ignorance. Ajnanam yad atonyatha. Anyatha. Other than this, whatever is there is ajnanam. Etaj means all that I have said so far. Iti jnanam. Whatever I have said so far is knowledge. Proktam. Right? I am saying. Whatever I have said so far. Iti proktam. Whatever I have said so far. Etaj jnanam iti proktam. So etaj iti proktam. Whatever I have said now is jnanam. Etaj jnanam iti proktam. Ajnanam yat ata anyatha. Other than this, whatever is there is ajnanam. Now you can memorize the verse, right? So now when you go over the verse, amanitvam adambhitvam. Amanitvam is what? Humility. Adambhitvam, pridelessness. Ahimsa, non-violence. Kshanti, tolerance. Arjavam, simplicity. Acharyopasanam, approaching a bona fide spiritual master. Shaucham, cleanliness. Sthairyam, steadiness. Atmavinigraha, self-control. Indriyartheshu vairagyam, giving up the objects of sense gratification. Anahankara evacha, anahankara, freedom from false ego. Janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha means the pain that comes from janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha dosha. It's a fault, right? Being able to see the evil dosha of birth, death, old age, and disease, right? Dosha anudarshanam. You're able to see the fault or the evil of janma mrityu jara vyadhi. Janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha dosha anudarshanam. Asaktir, opposite of asakti. So asaktir means detachment. Anabhishwangaha putra dara grihadishu. That means anabhishwangaha means freedom from attachment to wife, children, home, etc. Nityam cha samachittatvam ishtanishtopapatishu, even-mindedness amid both pleasant and unpleasant circumstances. Okay, nityam cha samachittatvam ishtanishtopapatishu. Mai chananya yogena bhaktir avyabhicharini. Yes, that means constant and unalloyed devotion to me. Mai cha ananya yogena bhaktir avyabhicharini. Then vivikta desha sevitvam, aspiring to live in a solitary place. Vivikta desha sevitvam. Aratir, what is aratir? Again, detachment. Jana samsadi, detachment from the general mass of people. Adhyatma jnana nityatvam means understanding the importance of self-realization. Adhyatma jnana means self-realization. I'm not this body, I'm a spiritual. Adhyatma jnana nityatvam, tattva jnanartha darshanam, and also searching for the absolute truth. Etaj jnanam iti proktam. Whatever I have said so far is knowledge. Ajnanam yad atonyatha. Other than this, whatever else is there is ignorance. Right? So now when you read this, you'll be able to remember the meaning also, and you can easily memorize it also. As you're reading it, you can memorize. Now all you have to do is just remember what comes afterward, the lines. That's all, because you know the meanings. This is how we memorize the verse. A long one. Okay, so let's do Srimad Bhagavatam now. Srimad Bhagavatam. Canto 9, Chapter 20. The descendants of Maharaj Puru. Yes. So we were reading about Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj is the son of King Dushmanta. So King Dushmanta, after he retired, right, then Bharat Maharaj became the, okay, Rasapriya is supposed to begin today. Bharat Maharaj became the emperor. What did Bharat Maharaj do? Do you remember what Bharat Maharaj did? What did Bharat Maharaj do when he became the emperor? He performed a lot of yagyas. So
Performed. Yeah.
yes, Mataji. Ashwamedha yagyas. 55 Ashwamedha yagyas along the banks of the Ganga, 78 Ashwamedha yagyas along the banks of the Yamuna, all the way from the source until the mouth, the end. Okay, the whole length of the river Ganges and the river Yamuna, he performed Ashwamedha yagyas. So many Ashwamedha yagyas Bharat Maharaj did. Why? Because he, and also when he became the emperor, how did he become the emperor? There was a grand celebration, like a big ritualistic ceremony to worship the Supreme Lord. And in that, he was actually, he was crowned as the next emperor. And he was the emperor for the entire Bhumandala, right? All the 7 uh, Dvipas. Bharat Maharaj was the emperor. And another thing is he's called a representation, partial representation of the Supreme Lord. So, of course, Srila Prabhupada in the purport said that he is a vibhuti, and they could see on his palms the symbols of chakra, Sudarshan Chakra, Lord Krishna's Sudarshan Chakra on his palms. And on his soles of his feet, they could see the marks of lotuses. So he was not an ordinary person, a special person. He was a vibhuti of the Supreme Lord. And he became the emperor, and he performed so many Ashwamedha yagyas like that we saw. So then we discussed about yagya, why yagya has to be done, right? Ashwamedha yagyas, why he is doing so many Ashwamedha yagyas, what is the purpose of yagya? Because it is only when you do yagya that you get everything that you need, right? We discussed that yesterday at length. Whatever you need means to live, right? Actually, this is the arrangement made by the Lord at the beginning of creation. Along with human beings and demigods, the Lord also sent yagyas, right? So the creator he sent yagyas, and the idea is the human beings, when they perform yagyas, the demigods will be satisfied and they will supply whatever we need. They will supply means yagya is actually meant to satisfy Yagya Purusha, Lord Vishnu. So when the Lord is satisfied by that yagya, or when we are connecting with the Absolute through yagya, then we get whatever we want. So everything that we need to live here will be provided, right? And one who does not do yagya is living a sinful life. Sinful life means there will be punishment. So yagya is absolutely essential. And yagya is not just anything that I do is yagya. No. Yagya means satisfying the Supreme Lord. You have to offer the work that you're doing. First of all, you have to do the work which is prescribed in the scripture, and that work has to be offered to the Lord. So yagya means it is karma. But Srila Prabhupada also says in the purport that in this age, there's only one yagya that works. All other yagyas, they're not effective. Why? Because we don't have the qualification to perform those yagyas. Like Bharat Maharaj is doing these yagyas, very costly. How many people can do Ashwamedha yagyas? Besides, these yagyas are forbidden in Kali Yuga. They are not possible. Ashwamedham Gavalambam, what's the third one? Ashwamedham Gavalambam, Sannyasam Palapaitrikam, Devarena Sutotpatti, Panchau, Kalau Pancha Vivarjayat. Kalau Pancha Vivarjayat. In Kali Yuga, these 5 are forbidden. What are the 5? Ashwamedham, Gavalambam, Sannyasam, Palapaitrikam, Devarena Sutotpatti. Ashwamedham means horse sacrifice, Gavalambam means cow sacrifice, Sannyasam means accepting the renounced order of life, Palapaitrikam means offering flesh to the forefathers, and Devarin Sutotpatti, getting a child from husband's brother. These 5 are forbidden in Kali Yuga. So in general, what you understand is yagyas, the only yagya that works is Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Namaiva Kevalam. Kalau Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatiranyata. There is no other Gati in Kali Yuga. There is no other Gati in Kali Yuga. There is no other Gati in Kali Yuga except Harer Namaiva, Harer Namaiva, Harer Namaiva Kevalam. There is only one way, which is chanting the holy names of the Lord, chanting the holy names of the Lord, chanting the holy names of the Lord. That means, and this is yagya. When you do yagya, you get everything that you need. So therefore, by this Harer Namanukirtanam, right, chanting of the holy names of the Lord, then we get whatever we have. Rains are coming on time, there is sunlight, there is oxygen, all this is happening, and food, the different crops are producing food items, all this is happening, rivers are flowing. Whatever we are getting, we are still able to live in this world because of only one thing, yagya. And the only yagya that works now is Harer Namanukirtanam. So bhakti in general, right? This is also, as I was telling you about the second canto, further on in those verses, first chapter verses, Srila Sukadeva Goswami says that Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma, this is 5, 2:1:5. Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishwaro Harihi Shrotavyah Kirtitavyascha Smartavyah Chechata Bhayam. Ichha. Ichhata Abhayam means if you are desiring Abhayam. What is Abhayam? You will say Abhayam is fearlessness. So what gives you fearlessness? You can go one step forward. What gives you fearlessness? Abhayam. You will become fearless. Once one devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, what does it feel like to be self-realized? And Srila Prabhupada stopped for a moment and said, fearless. Abhayam. So not just self-realized, but what does it feel like to be a pure devotee? So Abhayam also is of 3 types. To get liberation, transcend the material world and get moksha, right? Go and merge into the Supreme. Abhayam. Abhayam. And the other one is to get Krishna Prema. One who takes to the path of Raganuga Bhakti. He gets Krishna Prema. That's also Abhayam. And the third type of Abhayam is one who does only Vaidhi Bhakti, aspiring for some, he's aspiring for Bhagavat Prapti, but with opulences. That means he wants to go to Vaikuntha and he wants some opulences in Aishwarya Bhav. That's also Abhayam. So 3 types of Abhayam are there. One is to just get moksha. Second is to get Goloka Prapti. And the third is to get Adhyatma Aishwarya Prapti. Bhagavat. So Adhyatma Aishwarya Yukta Bhagavat Prapti. These are the 3 types of Abhayam. So if you want these 3 types of Abhayam, these are the only 3 types of Abhayam. There's no other way. If you want to become fearless, there's only these 3. There's no other way to become fearless. How to become fearless? Shrotavyaha, Kirtitavyascha, Smartavyaha. You have to hear, you have to chant, and you have to remember. Who? Tasmat Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishwaro Hari. You have to hear, chant, and remember Hari. Hari, who is known as Sarvatma, Bhagavan, and Ishwara. Again, that is also important. Why 3? Sarvatma means one who is aspiring for liberation. He will hear about Hari, chant about Hari, and remember Hari in the form of Sarvatma. Sarvatma means one who is all-pervading, who is the super soul everywhere. So he will do bhakti. You have to do bhakti only for that also. It's not just you follow the Jnana path and you realize Brahman. No, no. People can even go and merge into Bhagavan, Moksham, right? You just go and merge into Bhagavan. That's also there. But for that also you do bhakti. Sarvatma. Or Bhagavan means, that's also established. Bhagavan means ultimately it is Krishna only. Bhagavan means Krishna, ultimate form of Bhagavan. So there is also Lord Narayan, there is also Rama, there is also Varaha, one person only, but the source of all the different forms is Krishna. He is the fountainhead. So when you say Bhagavan, ultimately, relatively speaking, Bhagavan means it only applies to Krishna. So, so either you worship Hari as Sarvatma, that means as Paramatma, present everywhere, or you worship him as Bhagavan, Krishna, and Ishvara. Ishvara means, you can say, the controller, like Lord Vishnu, right? Like Yagyapati, or the possessor of all opulences, the master, the controller. That means Aishwarya Bhav. You can worship him like that. Tasmat Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishwaro Harihi. But if you, so any of these three you want, and these three are only the Abhayam, fearlessness, then what should you do? Shrotavyah Kirtitavyascha. Shrotavyah Kirtitavyascha. Smartavyah Chechat Abhayam. If you are aspiring for Abhayam, then this is the only way. So this was the 5th verse. Then again in the 11th verse, it will be said, of these three, right? Of hearing, chanting, and remembering, which is the best? Which is the best one? Etan nirvidyamananam ichhatam akuto bhayam. Akuto bhayam means what? You don't have to fear that there may be some, like fearlessly, without any care, under any circumstances, in all places, you can perform this one activity. Actually, bhakti, all three, right? Hearing, chanting, and remembering can be done in any place without worrying about, oh, this is impure place, this is impure time, I should not do it before taking bath, or no, you can do it anytime, no problem. There is no offense, there is nothing. Under all circumstances, you can do these three things. Shrotavyah, Kirtitavyascha, Smartavyah. They can be done. But can you do like this in the case of other practices? Because in this second canto, Srila Sukadeva Goswami also talks about Ashtanga Yoga. Can you perform Ashtanga Yoga like this? No. There's a condition that's also described. First of all, Yama means you have to leave home. Leave your wife, children, home, essential. Then niyama, every morning you go and take, not just a morning you have to do, but also so many times in a day, morning, noon, evening, take bath in a river, right? River means winter time, cold water, no problem, but you have to do it. Yama, niyama, asana, there's a certain way how you should sit. First you spread a deer skin, then kusha grass, then a soft cloth. Seat should be not too high, not too low. You have to sit with your back straight and erect. And then what should you do? Yama, niyama, asana, pratyahara. You have to start vibrating the sound om, like that. Why you're doing that? In order to control your mind, pull your mind away from all, because the mind is running after sense, right? Senses, so sense objects. So you have to focus the mind. So you, on this sound vibration, om pratyahara, like this. There's a procedure for Ashtanga Yoga which is described there. So Ashtanga Yoga is not, you can do, it's not akuto bhayam, but bhakti is akuto bhayam. Within bhakti also, these three, Shrotavyah, Kirtitavyascha, Smartavyah, Chechathabhyam. So in these three also, which one is recommended? Etan nirvidyamananam ichhatam akuto bhayam. If you want the result without any fear that I may not commit any offense or anything, Yoginam Nripa Nirnitam Harer Namanu Kirtanam. So this has been decided by, okay, I'll just read the translation. O King, constant chanting. Anu means what? Anukulyena Krishnanu Sheelanam. Anu Sheelanam. Anu means continuously, not just once. Not that, oh, I finished my japa today, so I'm free. No, continuously you have to do. Anu, again and again you have to do. So Harer Namanu Kirtanam. So of these three, Shravanam, Kirtanam and Smaranam, what is most important? What is most practical, even if you want to bring it down to like, like fine tune it, right? Just get to the one thing that you have to do. Kirtanam. Kirtanam. Hare Namanu. And Kirtanam also can be of the Lord's name, His form, His qualities, His pastimes, isn't it? When we talk, discuss, sing, Kirtanam of the Lord's qualities, of the Lord's pastimes, right? What is the best of all these four? Nama. Chant His names. Hare Nama, Kirtanam, Anu. It has to be done again and again and again. This is the way. This is the method which is given to us by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, isn't it? Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sada Harihi. Kirtaniya Sada Hari. If you want to do Hari's Kirtan always, which is the goal, Hare Namanu Kirtanam, then what? How can you do it? Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena. Not expecting any respect for oneself. Amanina, not expecting for myself. Manadena, giving respect to everyone else. Amanina, Manadena. Of course, Srila Prabhupada says it is not easy, right? Tolerance. Tarorapi Saishna, like a tree being tolerant. It's not easy. And how we can do? Again, all this will come by the mercy of the Lord. So the strength is coming by surrender to the instruction of the spiritual master. In one of the lectures, Srila Prabhupada says, it is understood, it's already understood that you don't have any feelings for Krishna. It's understood, right? Feelings means, yeah, like, yeah, well, you may have some feelings for Krishna, but still we are clouded, isn't it? We're still covered. It's not free from material tinges. But if you simply carry out the order of the spiritual master, that is your service to Krishna. Because the spiritual master is an unalloyed devotee of Krishna. If you carry out the order of the spiritual master, that is your devotion to Krishna. And if somebody's, one person questioned Prabhupada about how do I, how can we serve Krishna, offer something to Krishna with love, like that. So Prabhupada said, you cannot offer. You cannot offer. You just offer to the spiritual. Without spiritual master, you cannot offer to Krishna. You cannot offer without the spiritual master. So that's also said. So anyway, so the whole point of this Sankirtan Yagya in Kali Yuga, right? Again and again it is said that the only hope for us is this Kirtanam. It's really brought down to that, right? Hari Sankirtan, Kirtanam. And Kirtanam is of two types, Sankirtan and then there's also Japa. Both are important. Both are important. They have their own importance. You have to do both. And not just that little bit and finished. Constantly you have to do. Again and again you have to do. So Bharat Maharaj is doing all these yagyas. Next, text 27, Rasapriya's turn. And of course, interlinked with that yagya is for you to do that, you should not be doing sinful activities. That's also there. So no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex. So that also we discussed yesterday at length about the do nots, which is actually showing a Grihamedi's life. If you are engaging in those activities, that means your center itself is wrong, right? The goal of life is only misplaced. Okay. Now the next verse, text 27. So we saw that how Bharat Maharaj is ruling and how he's performing yagyas. He's the emperor. Trayastrim Trayastrimshachatam Hyashvan Trayastrimshachatam Hyashvan Badhva Vismapayan Ripan Daushmantir Atyagan Mayam Devanam Gurumayayau. Okay, Rasapriya.
Bharat, the son of Maharaj Dasmanta, bound 3,300 horses for those sacrifices, and thus he astonished all other kings. He surpassed even the opulence of the demigods, for he achieved the supreme spiritual master of Hari.
Yes, this is also very interesting. I'm just seeing the link, the connection, of all these verses to the second canto verses. Anyway, Bharat, the son of Maharaj Dushmanta, bound 3,300 horses. So, how many did we calculate yesterday? 55 plus 78 horse sacrifices. Sabriya said something like, how many? 133. But here we see he has bound. You know what happens in a horse sacrifice, right? First of all, a horse, they do this. There is a sacrificial horse, the best, quality horse, and the horse is let loose to go all over the planet, all over the kingdom. Not just the kingdom, because yeah, all over the planet actually. And then in whichever place the horse goes, if nobody holds the horse, ties the horse, if the horse is able to move freely, it indicates that the king because there is emperor and there are subordinate kings also. So the ruler of that particular area is accepting this person who's going to perform horse sacrifice as his emperor, to be subordinate to him. He's accepting. And he will give gifts, because behind the horse will be following the king's army. They'll be following wherever the horse goes. So he will offer his tributes, like his, like you can say gifts or like taxes to the emperor. He will offer, accepting that I'm subordinate to you. In this way, it takes about 1 year or so that the horse goes all over the planet, covering every piece of land. By that, it is understood that everyone has accepted this person who's going to perform horse sacrifice as the emperor. And if anyone ties the horse, that means you are challenging the authority of that emperor, and then you have to fight. And if you win, then you can become the next emperor. And if you lose, then you have to accept that person as, by force. Now because you have lost the battle, you have to accept that person as the emperor. This is the system. So not only did Bharat Maharaj perform horse sacrifices, so many horse sacrifices himself, but looks like he tied the horse. That means someone else who is attempting to do horse sacrifice to become the emperor, then he challenged, isn't it? That's what it means. When you tie a horse means what? You hold the horse means you have challenged another person. And obviously, if he has performed Ashwamedha Yagya means he's defeated. That's when he was able to do. So he's a very, unrivaled, right? Like he was so powerful, right? Bharata, the son of Maharaj Dushmanta, bound 3,300 horses. 3,300 horses he tied, bound 3,300 horses for those sacrifices. And thus he astonished all other kings. Yes, right? They're surprised. And he has defeated them also. And then he performs his own horse sacrifice, right? And no one is able to challenge him. And if they have challenged, then he fights with them. So he has bound 3,300 horses for those sacrifices, and he has astonished all the kings. And we know that simply if somebody does 100 horse sacrifices, he's fit to become the king of the heavenly planets. 100 horse sacrifices. And we just saw in the previous verse, he did 130 some sacrifices, 35 or something, 33. So he surpassed the requirement to be the king of heaven. How was he able to do that? That's the question. How was he able, being a human being, he was able to surpass the opulence of the demigods, right? He surpassed even the opulence of the demigods, for he achieved the supreme spiritual master, Hari. Purport, yeah, just finished this, Rasapriya, 2 lines.
One who achieves the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead certainly surpasses all material wealth, even that of the demigods in the heavenly planets. Yam labdva param labham manyate nadikam tatha. The achievement of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of God is the most exalted achievement in material life.
Yes. So, how he was able to achieve this opulence? He was able to achieve this opulence because he was an unalloyed. He achieved Lord Hari as the supreme spiritual master. That means, again, I told you about that verse, Shrotavyaha Kirtitavyascha Smartavyaha Chechatha Bhayam, right? That Tasmat Bharata Sarvatma Bhagwan Ishwaro Harihi Shrotavyaha Kirtitavyascha Smartavyaha Chechatha Bhayam. The next verse says there that एतावान् सांख्य योगाभ्याम स्वधर्म परिनिष्ठया जन्म लाभः परः पुंसाम् अन्ते नारायण स्मृतिः. Ante Narayana Smriti means what? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains, Ante Narayana Smriti means you will think at the time of giving up this body, you think about Narayan. Isn't that what you think usually? Ante Narayana Smriti means at the end of this life, you should remember Narayan. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that of all the different goals or results that you can get by various methods, by karma, the result that you get by karma. For example, here, when you do Ashwamedha Yagya, what do you get? You'll get heavenly opulences as a result, because it is karma after all. Karma will give you material results, isn't it? You'll go to higher and higher, material planets, and you'll enjoy for a long time material heavenly opulences. And then somebody who follows the path of jnana, his result is he will go and merge into Brahman. Someone who follows Ashtanga Yoga, he can get siddhis, anima, lagima, prapti, like that. Or he can even get moksha, right? Mukti, different types of mukti he can get, like this. So there are so many results by following Sankhya Yoga. Then Shat Chakra Yoga. So many different yogas are there. Dhyana Yoga. Following all these different yogas, because this was the assembly of Parikshit Maharaj, the conversation between Parikshit Maharaj and Sukadev Goswami, when it was happening, so many personalities came from different parts of the universe, and they were all followers of different paths. There were those who were following Ashtanga Yoga, those who were following Jnana, those who were following Shat Chakra Yoga, like that. And there were also those who were following Bhakti. So, when Sukadev Goswami said that Shrotavyaha Kirtitavyascha Smartavyaha Chechata Bhayam, when he said that, all these others are thinking, Are, here Sukadev Parikshit Maharaj asked a question, what should a person who is about to die do? What should he think of? I mean, what should he hear? What is the subject to hear? What should he chant? What should he worship? What should he remember? What should he do? And what should he not do? What should he not hear, not chant, not remember, not worship, That was the question. And Sukadeva Goswami is answering, you should hear, you should chant and remember Krishna. Right? That's the essence of that verse. Now all these others are thinking, Acha, just the two of you are deciding amongst yourself that this is the path. The student is asking and the teacher, and what about all of us, the paths that we are following? Why you're saying Abhayam means only that? It can be what we are practicing. Our result also can mean, something, not something. That can also be the highest result. How you're saying this, they can say, right? They can get that doubt. So then, right after that verse, this verse is recited by Srila Sukadeva Goswami, Ante Narayana Smriti. And he mentions, Etavan, Sankhya, Yoga Bhyam, right? Sankhya, Yoga, Swadharma. Swadharma means karma. Then Parinishtaya, with great, discipline, you're following Swadharma. And the results that you get, Janma Labha, Parah Pumsan, whatever results that you get by following these various paths. What is the highest, topmost? Ante Narayana Smriti. Ante Narayana Smriti means, so Narayana Smriti is what? That's bhakti. Shrotavya, Kirtitavya, Smartavya, that one. Bhakti is the highest. And what is the sadhya of bhakti? Sadhana means the practice. Sadhya means the end result. What is the end result of your bhakti, sadhana bhakti? Anukirtana means constantly you're chanting. Even after you get end result is chanting only. Now you're chanting, and by that chanting you'll get prema. When you get prema, you'll be so satisfied that you cannot stop chanting. You'll continue chanting there. With love you'll be chanting afterwards. So the sadhana and sadhya are both the same there. Chanting the glories of the Lord, hearing about Him, remembering Him, like that. So, Ante Narayana Smriti means that after you get prema, you're just Krishna prema. After you get, you're constantly chanting, remembering the Lord, chanting, like that. So that is the highest of all the results you can get. It's the top, and that is the end result. That means you're getting results of all these others also, but after this result, can you get anything else? Let's say you go to Swarga, you become Indra. Is that the final result? Or is there anything above that? Yes, there is above that. You can get liberation from material world altogether. You have higher and higher planets. You can become Lord Brahma. And beyond that also, you can go to Vaikuntha. But even that highest is Krishna Prema. So here Bharat Maharaj, how being in the human form of body, he was able to get opulences superior to the heavenly planets, because he accepted Hari as his spiritual master. That's the point. That means when you get, again, same thing, when you have $100, $10 are already there. Yam labdha chaparam labham, right? When you get that result, manyate nadikam tataha, when you get that highest result, all the other results will seem insignificant in front of that. You will not aspire for any other result. When you get love for Krishna, then you won't have any other aspirations in life. Oh, this and that, nothing. The achievement of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the most exalted achievement in life. That's exactly the meaning of Ante Narayana Smriti. The achievement of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the most exalted achievement in life. Bharat Maharaj had that. So then other things are completely, everything is within his grip now. If you have Krishna, if you have conquered Krishna, and how do you conquer Krishna? By your bhakti, by your prema. Bhakti also, there is sadhana and there is prema bhakti. By your prema, you can conquer Krishna. And if somebody has conquered Krishna by his love, what is not possible for him? This heavenly opulences is very insignificant. Mrigan Shukladataha Krishnan Hiranyena Parivritan Adat Karmani Mashnare Niyutani Chaturdasha. Mataji, Priyanka Haripriya Mataji. Oops.
When Maharaj Bharat
Sorry.
performed the sacrifice known as Mashnara, or a sacrifice in the place known as Mashnara, he gave in charity 14 lakhs of excellent elephants with white tusks and black bodies, completely covered with golden ornaments.
Yes, Mataji, thank you. When Maharaj Bharat performed the sacrifice known as Mashnara, or a sacrifice in the place known as Mashnara. Okay, so there's a place called Mashnara, and the sacrifice that is performed in that place is also called Mashnara. It's just like we read about King Janaka, if you remember. We were reading about Mithila, right? Janak Maharaj, not Sita Devi's father Janaka, the first one. First one. Who is that? King Nimi. King Nimi, you remember? King Nimi cursed, actually, first Nimi was cursed by Vashishta Muni. Why? You remember why Nimi was cursed by Vashishta Muni? Yeah, I know our memories are very short. Mine also. So, what happened was this Vashishta, Nimi wanted to perform a yagya. King Nimi wanted to perform a yagya with Vashishta Muni as the head priest. And this yagya was, Nimi was actually a self-realized, devotee. He was a devotee of the Lord. So he wanted to perform yagya, for the benefit of all the kings perform yagyas, like Bharat Maharaj is performing yagya for the welfare of all people, of course. So he was a devotee and he wanted to do this yagya. And meanwhile, Vashishta Muni said, I'm going to do yagya for, I've already accepted to be the priest for Indra's yagya. So then I will come back and I'll do this, you wait for me. And he went off to do yagya for Indra. Then Nimi was thinking, this life is so precious, so rare. Every moment is important, valuable, and there's no guarantee how long we are going to live. Let me just go ahead with this yagya with another priest. I don't want to stop this yagya. I don't know when it'll, Vashishta Muni will come. Besides, it's yagya in the heavenly planets. Their time is different, right? This is just my addition. But you don't know how long it may take. Their our one day is their 6 months. So you have to wait for that long, right? For him to finish that yagya and then come. I'll just go ahead. So he started performing yagya. Meanwhile, Vashishta Muni came back after doing yagya for Indra. He came back and he saw Nimi is performing yagya where he's supposed to be the priest. He became angry with Nimi and he said, oh, you're disobedient to the order of your guru? I curse you that your body should fall off. Your material body should fall off. And then Nimi said, there was no fault on my part. I'm just doing a yagya for the welfare of everyone. And being a guru, you're just giving me such a punishment, right? And what is your fault? You went off to heavens just because you wanted the gifts from the king of heaven. So for that and for cursing me for no reason, I'll also curse you. Your body also should fall off. Then Vashishta Muni, he took birth again. He got another body when through Mitra and Varuna, right? When they looked at Urvashi, they had a discharge, and then the child born from that. So Vashishta Muni got another body like that. And then meanwhile, this yagya was being performed for Nimi, where Nimi left his body right after that. After both of them cursed each other, Vashishta left his body, Nimi left his body. And Vashishta Muni got a body right away from Mitra and Varuna. But Nimi didn't get a body yet. So then all the priests who were performing that yagya, so the yagya was successful, the demigods had come, they all prayed to the demigods, please give a body to our master. And uh, and the demigods were also pleased by the yagya. It was done nicely. They said, okay, fine, we'll give another body to him. But Nimi said, no, I don't want another material body. Because in material body, what do people do? It's filled with miseries, material miseries, and birth, old age, disease, and death. I don't want this material body again. But those who are devotees, they don't mind any body, heaven or hell, because their only purpose of getting a body is with that they can do Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam. They get an opportunity. You need a body to do all these activities. So that's why devotees, they don't mind getting any body, but just getting a material body, so that you can do ahara, nidra, bhaya, maituna, right? This is ridiculous, like that. So then they said, the demigod said, okay, so we will give means he's eligible for a spiritual body. So that's how Nimi gets a spiritual body. He becomes a Parshada. But the body that fell in that yagya, they start churning that body. Because now they need the king also, right, to continue here. So when they churn Nimi's body, from the dead body of Nimi, by churning that dead body, one person is born and his name is Janaka. He has 3 names: Janaka, Mithila, and Vaideha. Videha? No, Vaideha. Janaka, Mithila. Why Janaka? Ja means birth. Janaka means because he is born in an unusual way. Therefore, his name is Janaka. And why he is called Mithila? Mithila because he's born from the dead body. Vaideha is because he's born from a dead body. Vaideha is because he's born from a dead body. Do you ever see children taking birth from dead bodies? No. But he was born from a dead body, and that too of the father. Right? Vaideha. His name is Vaideha. His name is Janaka. And then Mathana, right? Churning. Samudra Manthan they do. Manthan means Mathana. So, because his body is born by churning, Mathne se jo aaya hai, wo hai Mithila. Right? So, because his body is born by churning, his name is Mithila. Why I'm telling this whole story? It's a recap because we just read it earlier in the 9th canto. Just to refresh our memories, I said it again. But my purpose of telling this part was this king, Mithila, his name is Mithila. Why his name is Mithila? Because his body was born by churning, and he established a city from where he ruled, and because he is Mithila, that city is also called Mithila. And then after him, there are so many generations of kings, one after another, that whole dynasty. Everyone is called Janaka. It's like a surname. Like you have Sharma, 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 or you have, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. So Janaka they're all called Janaka. And in that line, after several generations, comes Kshiradhwaja, who is Janaka, the father of Sita Devi, and his brother Kushadhwaja. Like that. So Janaka. So the original first Janaka was born by churning the dead body of King Nimi. And this is Surya Vamsha coming down from because Ikshvaku Maharaj had 3 sons. So Nimi is one of them. Anyway, so here our context is Bharat Maharaj. Maharaj Bharat, he performed a sacrifice called Mashnara. The sacrifice is called Mashnara because it is performed in a place called Mashnara. So that's why I remembered Mithila. He is Mithila, and then the place also got the name Mithila because he is Mithila. And like that, here it's the other way around. Because it is done in a place called Mashnara, the sacrifice is also called Mashnara sacrifice. Bharat Maharaj performed Mashnara sacrifice. And when he performed that sacrifice, he gave in charity 14 lakhs of excellent elephants. Just think of the opulence, my God. Who can afford to have even one elephant nowadays? Anyone who has an elephant, you can understand, is an extremely wealthy person. Why? Because the elephant eats a lot. You need to maintain acres of land, so much land, just to grow food for the elephants. In Mayapur, they do. They have fields just meant for the elephants. They grow sugarcane and this and that. They have 2 elephants. Earlier, they had only 1 elephant, but they need company. So now they have 2 elephants. Both are sisters. Lakshmi Priya, Vishnu Priya. So today is Saturday. Actually, they just concluded, I think, every Saturday from Kartik until Gaur Purnima, they have this elephant procession where the deity Shri Shri Radha Madhav go on a procession riding on the elephant backs. So, a very wonderful festival. Every Saturday evening they do it between Kartik and Gaur Purnima only. So, so that talks about the opulence also of ISKCON, having an elephant, not one, but maintaining 2 elephants, and then they are bathed and they're trained, and so much. It takes a lot. And here Bharat Maharaj is giving in charity 14 lakhs of elephants. Just understand his opulence. He gave in charity 14 lakhs of excellent elephants with white tusks and black bodies, completely covered with golden ornaments. So in these yagyas, he was giving such gifts. The other day also we saw that when he performed all these yagyas, Ashwamedha yagyas, he was giving thousands and thousands of cows in charity, right? Badwa we saw. That means 1300 and some cows. To each of the thousands of brahmanas, he was giving so many excellent cows covered in, gold ornaments and silk cloth and all that. Now we see he's giving elephants in charity, 14 lakhs of elephants in charity. So this is, we see the power, the influence, the exalted position, the opulence of Bharat Maharaj. भरतस्य महत्कर्म न पूर्वे न परे नृपाः नैवापुर्नैव प्राप्स्यन्ति बाहुभ्याम त्रिदिवम् यथा. Yes, Mataji, Saujanya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
As one cannot approach the heavenly planets simply by the strength of his arms, for who can touch the heavenly planets with his hands, one cannot imitate the wonderful activities of Maharaj Bharata. No one could perform such activities in the past, nor will anyone be able to do so in the future.
Yes. Abhuto na bhavishyati. Right? Naiva apur naiva prapsyanti. Na purve na pare nripaha. Na purve means before. Na apare, neither after him. There will be a king, right, who can have opulences like Bharat Maharaj. And this type of opulence is not possible by your physical strength, by the strength of your arms. No. As one cannot approach the heavenly planet simply by the strength of his arms, some people tried to do that, but they failed, right? It's not possible. As one cannot approach the heavenly planet simply by the strength of his arms. Even trying to go to the moon is a heavenly planet. If you're trying to go there simply by the strength of your arms, means your physical strength, and physical is all your intellectual, mental, everything, right? Gross senses. With the power of your gross senses, if you try to go to the heavenly planets, is it possible? No. One cannot approach the heavenly planets simply by the strength of his arms. For who can touch the heavenly planets with his hands? So just as one cannot approach heavenly planets by the strength of his arms, similarly, one cannot imitate the wonderful activities of Maharaj Bharat. Yes. If you try to imitate great personalities, we will die. Like Lord Shiva drank poison. So if we think, okay, I'll also try because Lord Shiva drank, what will happen? We will die. And about the 6 Goswamis, the types of austerities that they did, if we think, oh, they did it, let me also try doing that. Srila Prabhupada says, if you try to imitate them, you will die. You will not last long doing that. Right? So there is 2 words, Anukaran and Anusaran. Right? Anusaran means to follow in their footsteps. Following in their footsteps means carry out their instructions. Right? Take shelter of their lotus feet. Pray for their mercy. Take instructions from them. Carry out their instructions. Anusaran. Anukaran means to imitate. Because you like the results that they got, so you'll just try to take it away, right? The fame and name that they get by what they did, you want that name and fame, so you imitate. What happens when you imitate? You will die, it is said. So similarly, Bharat Maharaj, such extraordinary opulences and such wonderful activities he did. If anyone tries to imitate, he cannot. It's not possible. No one could perform such activities in the past, nor will anyone be able to do so in the future. So all kings, they should just bow down in front of Bharat Maharaj and surrender, not that imitate. It's not possible for anyone. This is Bhagavatam statement. Na purve na pare nripa. Right? There has never been a king before, nor will there be one after, who had opulences like Bharat Maharaj or who did such wonderful activities like Bharat Maharaj. Just the number of horse sacrifices that he performed, you can understand. Amazing. So let's read Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 1, text 37-38. Please repeat. Yadyapyetena pashyanti lobhopahata chetasaha kulakshayakritam dosham मित्रद्रोहे च पातकम् कथं न ज्ञेयम् अस्माभिः पापादस्मान् निवर्तितुम् कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं प्रपश्यद्भिर्जनार्दन. O Janardana, although these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends, why should we, who can see the crime in destroying a family, engage in these acts of sin? So you remember the past few, what Arjun said? I'll just show you quickly. So first he said that I won't be able to enjoy after all these people are killed, right? So I don't want to fight. And then there he says, oh Govinda. That means you're supposed to give pleasure to the senses, but if you induce me in this fight, you won't be giving me pleasure. I won't get any pleasure from this. So you are Govinda, you remain Govinda. don't don't give misery to my senses, give pleasure to my senses. So don't ask me to fight this battle. Don't induce me to fight this battle, because I know this battle is not going to give me happiness. What to speak of getting kingdom of this earthly planet, but all three planets, if I get, still I won't be happy, like that. And then the next one he was saying is, we will get sin if we kill these aggressors. So on one hand, they are aggressors, but aggressors should be killed right away. There's no sin in killing an aggressor. They are aggressors because they have taken our land away, our kingdom away, our wealth. They've, tried to insult. They took our wife away and tried to insult her, right? They sent her to forest. They are certainly aggressors. And even they tried to, in the forest also, they tried to kill them by giving poison, by burning them alive. In every way, they are aggressors, isn't it? They are attacking them with weapons. Then aggressors should be killed. But Arjun is saying, no, that is Artha Shastra. According to Dharma Shastra, then forgiveness is a higher principle, right? Even if they are aggressors, don't kill them. Forgive them. Why? Because there are family members. And family members, if you kill them, you'll get sin. Even if they are aggressors, family members should not be dealt with the same way. So again, here he calls Krishna Madhava, husband of the goddess of fortune, right? Uh, and then also he says, one second. Madhava, Sukhina Shyama Madhava, husband of goddess of fortune. That means, again, a goddess of fortune, for the husband of the goddess of fortune means you'll bring all fortune to us. But this battle won't give any fortune. But the other thing also is, um, I'm missing one point here that I wanted to say. It's not coming to my mind right away. Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of goddess of fortune? How could you be happy? Still, he's on that point also. I cannot become happy. This battle is not going to give me fortune. You are supposed to give fortune because you're the husband of goddess of fortune. Don't induce me in this fight. Similar to Govinda, right? But he's saying we'll get sin if we kill. One more thing is, he doesn't address here, but I think in another verse it is said that uh, you are telling me to fight here, but these are family members. The consideration was they are family members, right? The family members. So they are aggressors, but they are family members. So you don't treat family members the same way that you treat others. There will be sin if you kill family members. That's the point. So in some other verse, he says that he addresses Krishna as, you have killed your uh, enemies. Yeah, he calls him Murari, the enemy of Murari demon, or some demon Krishna killed, right? Madhusudan, yes, Madhusudan, yes. Thank you, Rasapriya. Madhusudan, one who killed the demon Madhu. Yes, you are famous as Madhusudan, who killed the demons, but you are asking me to kill who? My guru, my grandfather. You are not called, Sandipani Sudan, or you are not called, grandfather Ugrasena Sudan. No, you have not killed your grandfather or your teacher, but you're telling me to kill my grandfather and teacher. That's why he's saying Madhusudan. So every word that Arjun uses to address Krishna has a meaning, in that context. So anyway, so here yesterday we saw he's saying that sin will come. It will overcome us if we kill these aggressors. They are aggressors, but still, if we kill them, sin will come because they are family members. What will happen? That he's saying in this verse, which we recited today. Uh, these people, they don't understand the fault in killing family. I am saying that by killing family, there will be sin. So you can say that they are also killing your family, but they don't have that consideration. Why you should have consideration if they don't have? Krishna can say, right? So Arjun is saying that, yeah, they don't see the fault. Why? Because they're overtaken by greed. But we are able to see the fault. Why we should act like them? We can see the problems in destroying a family. So what problems he will tell later. Purport. A Kshatriya is not supposed to refuse to battle or gamble when he is so invited by some rival party. And that's why they are engaged in that gambling match also. When you are challenged, for a game or for a battle, Kshatriya cannot refuse. So under such an obligation, Arjun could not refuse to fight because he had been challenged by the party of Duryodhana. In this connection, Arjun considered that the other party might be blind to the effects of such a challenge, right? So they are blind. So they are challenging, not seeing the consequences. So Krishna's point can be that you are a Kshatriya, they are challenging you. So you have to do your Kshatriya dharma, you have to accept the challenge. If you refuse, then you are actually falling away from your dharma as a Kshatriya. So Arjun's answer is these people, they are challenging because they're blind to the results of this battle. By challenging, there will be a battle. What will happen after this? They're blind, they're not able to see the consequences. That's why they have challenged. In this connection, Arjun considered that the other party might be blind to the effects of such a challenge. Arjun, however, could see the evil consequences and could not accept the challenge. Obligation is actually binding when the effect is good, but when the effect is otherwise, then no one can be bound. Arjun is saying, yes, Kshatriya's dharma. So that means they could have even refused the gambling match, right? If the effects are adverse, then there is no obligation to do dharma. But if the consequences are right, good, then you accept that dharma. But if the consequences are bad, there's no obligation to do that dharma. That's Arjun's point. You're saying that as a Kshatriya, I must accept challenge, but the result of this challenge is so many people will suffer. families will be destroyed, and future there will be Varna Sankara, women will be polluted. All this simply because I accept the challenge. And they are challenging, not seeing the evil consequences of this challenge, but I am able to see. So obligation is actually binding when the effect is good, but when the effect is otherwise, then no one can be bound. Considering all these pros and cons, Arjun decided not to fight. So this is Arjun's reason for not accepting. And then in the next few verses, he will explain what are the consequences, the evil consequences of killing a family. Now we'll read Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrita and I will end. Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrita. So Srila Prabhupada is in Bowery, and there's 3 people so far coming. One person is actually staying with Srila Prabhupada, Mr. David, and there's another Mr. Nelson who comes, visits, attending morning classes at 7 o'clock. And then now there's Mr. Carl, right? He's a black-bodied young man living in New York, and he was a college student, studying Indian religion and Buddhism, and he's also experimenting with drugs. So he was even kind of learning a little bit of Sanskrit. Okay, Carl, I had just finished reading a book called The Wonder That Was India. I had gotten the definition of a sannyasi and a brahmachari and so forth. This, this is in the 1960s where, when, Indian Indians were not so popular, I think, right, in America. Like now we have so many Indian stores and Indian clothes and Indian people all over, right? This was in the 60s. So for someone to know all these things was I think, a rare thing. So I had gotten the definition of a sannyasi and a brahmachari and so forth. There was a vivid description in that particular book of how you could see a sannyasi coming down the road with his saffron robe. It must have made more than just a superficial impression on me, because it came to me this one chilly evening. I was going to visit Michael Grant. Who's Michael Grant? Mukund Maharaj, right? I was going to visit Michael Grant, probably going to smoke some marijuana and sit around, maybe play some music, and I was coming down Hester Street. If you make a left on Bowery, you can go up to Mike's place on Grand Street. Okay. If you make a left on Bowery, you can go up to Mike's place on Grand Street. But it's funny that I chose to go that way, because the shorter way would have been to go down Grand Street. But if I had gone that way, I would probably have missed Swamiji. So I decided to go down Hester and then make a left. All of a sudden, I saw in this dingy alcove a brilliant saffron robe. As I passed, I saw it was Swamiji knocking on the door, trying to gain entrance. There were 2 bums hunched up against the door. It was like a two-part door, right? Two-part door. One of them was sealed and the other was locked. The 2 bums were lying on either side of Swamiji. One of these men had actually expired, which often happened, and you had to call the police or health department to get them. I don't think I saw the men lying in the doorway until I walked up to Swamiji and asked him, "Are you a sannyasi?" And he answered, "Yes." We started this conversation about how he was starting a temple, and he mentioned Lord Chaitanya and the whole thing. He just came out with this flow of strange things to me, right there in the street. But I knew what he was talking about somehow. I had the familiarity of having just read this book and delved into Indian religion. So I knew that this was a momentous occasion for me, and I wanted to help him. We banged on the door, and eventually we got into the loft. He invited me to come to a kirtan, and I came back later that night for my first kirtan. From that point on, it was a fairly regular thing. 3 times a week. At one point, Swamiji asked me to stay with him, and I stayed for about 2 weeks. It was perhaps because of Karl's interest in Sanskrit that Prabhupada began holding Sanskrit classes. Karl and David and a few others would spend hours learning Sanskrit under Prabhupada's guidance. Using a chalkboard he found in the loft, Prabhupada taught the alphabet, and his students wrote their exercises in notebooks. Prabhupada would look over their shoulders to see if they were writing correctly and would review their pronunciation. His students were learning not simply Sanskrit, but the instructions of Bhagavad Gita. Each day he would give them a verse to copy in the Sanskrit alphabet, Devanagari, transliterate into the Roman alphabet, and then translate word for word into English. But their interest in Sanskrit waned, and Prabhupada gradually gave up the daily classes to spend time working on his own translations of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So we see Srila Prabhupada would, in whatever way possible, whatever interests we had, he would try to fan that. But through that interest, he would give Krishna consciousness. So let us stop here. Thank you all so much, dear devotees. All of you have a wonderful day in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.